A mom is demanding changes to a Cincinnati police policy after an officer used a stun gun on her 11-year-old daughter. Police say the off-duty officer was a police officer in the Kroger on Kennard Avenue when he spotted the girl walking away with a backpack full of items. They say the officer warned her to stop and she refused. He then stunned her with a taser. 9 on Your Side has a team reporting for you on this particular issue. We begin with 9 on Your Side's Julie O'Neill, who is at police headquarters. Julie.
11 is young, but Cincinnati police policy states that the policy is actually that kids can be as young as 7 and be tased. And a lot of city leadership tonight feels like that needs to be changed.
I don't care if it's not your kid. Everybody has kids. Consider changing that. Consider changing it.
Donna Gowdy showing us the barb marks left by a taser in her 11-year-old daughter's back. Can't imagine the need for an even younger child to be tased.
Come on now. 7? Are you serious?
My daughter is 10 and a half, and it was very difficult for me to understand why an 11-year-old was tased.
Vice Mayor Christopher Smitherman now calling for a change in CPD policy to raise the allowable age for officers to use a taser on a suspect to 12.
That it's more of an appropriate age.
It was a compromise age, but I think we'll be much better served by using the principles that take the unique circumstances of each case.
Civil Liberties attorney Al Gerardstein worked with police to develop the policy in 2012 after a UC officer shot teen Everett Howard in the chest with a taser and he died.
There is a commitment in our policy now to using options other than physical force. It might be better than a physical takedown, but it should be a serious matter before you whip out a taser and use it.
Officers are now trained to shoot in the back, but they must always weigh the use of force against other safety risks. Fraternal Order of Police President Dan Hill says he's okay with changing the policy, but says the officer in question did follow procedure.
And for everybody to knee-jerk and pile on in this case, just because they want to use the age number, to me is wrong.
Smitherman filed a motion with the city today. We will stay on top of that. Meantime, the Citizen Complaint Authority, which is supposed to investigate matters such as these, will not be able to interview the officer due to a legal injunction. That is something Al Gerardstein is working to fight right now as well. We'll stay on top of it. Live at Cincinnati Police Headquarters, I'm Julie O'Neill, 9 on Your Side.
All right. You know, it is rare for local police officers to use tasers on children. I-Team Chief Investigative Reporter Craig Cheatham joins us now from the newsroom with a look at some of those cases. Craig.
Tanya, the 9 on Your Side I-Team has examined hundreds of local taser incidents involving police officers in recent years. Our investigation found it's extremely rare for police to tase children. We focus on 2 cases. February of last year at a skating rink in Coleraine Township, a 12-year-old girl sits in a booth and isn't wearing skates as required by the rink. The manager said she gave him attitude, so he asked an off-duty deputy who worked security to escort her off the property. According to sheriff's records, the girl refused, then resisted a deputy and a second officer, striking one deputy twice on the side of his face. After the off-duty deputies took her to the ground and after warning that she might get tased, one of the deputies tased her on her thigh. The sheriff's office took pictures of a cut on her head and photos of the 2 deputies who did not have visible injuries. The internal investigation reviewed skating rink surveillance video of the incident and determined that the deputies followed use of force policy. In January of this year, Cincinnati police tased a girl who had just turned 16. According to CPD records, the girl had a missing runaway warrant. Officers found the girl in an apartment. She refused to leave a bathroom. The officers say her wrist was bleeding and ordered her to not reach for scissors on the floor. She did it anyway, so an officer tased her for 9 seconds. She still refused to cooperate, so he tased her a second and a third time. The investigation reviewed body camera video and found the officers followed the CPD use of force policy, even though the CPD supervisor determined the bathroom was too confined to allow the proper target for the taser. The I-Team requested comment from the sheriff's office and the Cincinnati PD, but they did not provide one. Some police departments don't have policies that address the use of tasers on children, but in general, officers are discouraged from using them on frail adults and younger children. Tanya.
Hey guys, welcome back to Nicole's Views. So this story here was circulating on Facebook today, or trending as everyone says. When I first saw the title, of course, it just immediately jumps out at you. At the time, we didn't know what the child was, the color, but I just knew she was black. And lo and behold, I go search for the news clip, and it is a black child, a black girl, 11 years old, was tased in a grocery store for apparently stealing. Okay. Now, when I saw the heading, the title to the story, I said, wait a minute. How can we get outraged about this? Some of you are going to be like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Well, remember, this is the same state, Ohio, that was okay with the murder of 12-year-old Tamir Rice. The savage cave devil who drove up on that boy in a park with a fake gun in less than 2 seconds blew that little boy away. Okay? Thanks to someone calling into 911 complaining that he was playing with a gun, a toy gun. But of course, according to the story, it wasn't conveyed to the folks at 911. All right? But either way, even if it were told to these devils, they saw black skin, they saw a boy, and they saw a target. All right? Period. They saw a target. Shot that young boy, and nothing was done about it. No charges were brought against that cave beast who shot that boy. Nothing. Nothing. And Tamir Rice's mother, oh my God, I still see her face. I remember when she was making the media rounds, and how frustrated and angry she was. And she didn't hold back. She didn't coon out. She called these so-called politicians out. Even President Obama called them all out. And she's like, no, I'm not going to be politicking with any of you. I'm not going to be sitting up here helping you with your presidential campaign runs. When to this day, the monster who murdered my son, nothing happened to him, okay, is still walking free. Okay? So, you know, I have much respect for her. And you don't see her out much now. But when you do see her, you know she's real. It's not coming from a place of, you know, I have to sell my son's story for $1. I have to get out here and do all this and that. You don't see her. And that's a reason why. Anyway, guys, excuse me, I'm getting a call. So this story here, it literally, you know, it's disgusting. And I also added the other video about them saying it's a-okay to taser little kids. It's okay is what they're saying. So if you have a child, they're saying 12 is when they're supposed to actually taser. Not 11 or 10, but 12. Like that makes it any better. They're saying it's okay to basically electrocute your kids, because basically that's what it is, in my opinion. And hey, it is what it is. And you saw that one cop say, before folks get outraged and this and that. See, that's what they think of you. And in the video clip, when they talk about another girl was tased, who was black, at a skating rink, because she had attitude and she was, you know, going off, a 12-year-old girl. They tased her. Now, you do something like that to your kids, and you're going to jail. Okay? You do that same thing, they're locking you up for child abuse, reckless endangerment, anything you can think of. but they can do that to your children. Okay? This is why we have to teach our kids. Don't take anything from these demonic devils. Don't go in these stores thinking you can run buck wild, take stuff. But either way, besides all that, no 11-year-old should be tased, and they know it. And all these stories you saw were black kids. The black young man who they tased and killed him, black. What is the pattern here, folks? They can do this to your kids and get away with it. They did it to Tamir Rice. So it's open season on your children. Anywhere, of course, but we're talking about Ohio here. I'm reading this from the New York Times, and it says 11-year-old stunned with taser by Ohio officer who suspected her of stealing. A Cincinnati police officer stunned an 11-year-old girl with a taser on Monday, the city's police department said, setting off anger and driving officials to re-examine the department's use of force policy. The girl, who is African American, was suspected of shoplifting food, Councilman Jeff Pastor said on Wednesday. The officer, who is also black, was off duty and working a security detail for the Kroger grocery store where the incident happened, Mr. Pastor said. Okay. It says, as a father, I could never imagine a scenario where it is acceptable to tase an 11-year-old child, he said, ever. Chief Elliot Isaac of the Cincinnati Police Department said in a statement on Tuesday, we are extremely concerned when force is used by one of our officers on a child of this age. We will be taking a very thorough review of our policies as it relates to using force on juveniles, as well as the propriety of the officer's action. The girl told NBC News that she was not aggressive toward the officer. It hit my back real fast, and then I stopped. Then I fell, and I was shaking, and I couldn't really breathe. She said of the taser, it's just like you're passing out, but you're shaking. Okay, folks? Once again, they're saying it's okay to do this to your kids. And if you're black, you're definitely going to get it. The girl's mother told NBC, I'm not saying what she did was cool. I'm not saying that. But what he did was totally wrong. Whoever thought of these rules needs to step back and think, she added. According to the Cincinnati Police Department's procedure manual, tasers may be used on children as young as 7. But before using a stun gun, the manual says officers must consider the severity of the crime and the risk of danger to others if the person is not quickly apprehended. Use the taser for self-defense or to control subjects that are actively resisting arrest, the manual says, adding that whenever possible, the subject should be given a verbal warning and the officer should obtain backup. Vice Mayor Christopher Smitherman, the chairman of Cincinnati's Law and Public Safety Committee, said he was introducing legislation on Wednesday that proposing raising the minimum age for taser use by officers to 12, as if that makes a difference. 12 is nothing, folks. That's nothing. He also asked for a comprehensive look at all of the tasing episodes involving minor children over the last 2 years and a complete review of all tasing policies. During the episode on Monday, the 11-year-old girl was accompanied by several young women who were all allegedly stealing items from the store, a spokesman for the Cincinnati police said in the statement. When the officer approached one of the girls, she continued to walk away, ignoring several commands to stop. The statement said, at that point, the officer shot the 11-year-old in the back with his stun gun. The police said she was taken to Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center and later released. The police charged her with theft and obstructing official business. A spokesman for the Cincinnati Police Department did not return phone calls or respond to emails requesting additional information. Mr. Smitherman said the officer's body camera was not activated, of course, or did not work, of course. We're trying to pull the film from Kroger, he said. A spokeswoman for Kroger said in a statement on Wednesday that we are saddened by this situation, adding that the grocery store chain shared the police chief's extreme concern. We want to understand what happened, why it happened, and we are assisting local law enforcement with their investigation, the statement said. The police have not identified the officer, of course, but he has been placed on desk duty, Mr. Smitherman said. Basically, will be transferred. Ohio law does not offer guidance to officers on taser use, said Jill Del Greco, a spokeswoman for the Ohio Attorney General's office. Each police department is responsible for coming up with its own policy, she said. Mr. Smitherman said he was not aware of any other tasing incidents in Cincinnati involving children, and called this an an outlier. Black youths are more than 5 times as likely to be detained or committed to juvenile facilities as their white counterparts, according to a 2017 report from the Sentencing Project, a nonprofit working to reduce racial disparities in the criminal justice system. When asked if race might have played a role in the tasering at Kroger on Monday, Mr. Smitherman noted that both the officer and the girl were black. So you saw that, right? So basically that makes it okay because the officers were black who did it. That makes it even worse because now we have a couple of savage coons who decided to get along with this so-called white supremacist, demonic, evil police system. Okay. Yeah. So that made it okay. Reaction to the news was swift in Cincinnati and on social media. It is barbaric and savage to use a taser on an 11-year-old accused of stealing food, Kristen Clark, the executive director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, said on Twitter. No one concerned about why an 11-year-old is stealing food, one woman wrote on Facebook, just concerned about appropriate punishment. Another wrote, I am generally a supporter of the police. It's a hard job and things can turn bad instantly, but this, no. Mr. Pastor called the episode appalling and said it is a very unfortunate situation, and I think it rattled every parent to the core. Tamir Rice should have done that already. Okay? So I keep going back to Tamir Rice because, folks, if people didn't get an outrage over that and demanding folks be voted out, gone away with, and that demon being prosecuted that killed Tamir Rice, then look forward to more of this. 12 years old. What's the difference? A year? No one should be tasing kids that young. It is totally barbaric. It is totally evil. And as I said before, it's only our children getting this. And those two coons that sat back and thought this was okay, it's even worse. That's 1,000,000 times worse. You could have talked to those young girls and been like, listen, are you guys stealing? Because kids these days, they see what's going on. They're not stupid. They don't want any type of interaction with these folks, black or white. Does it make it okay? No, it doesn't make it okay. But he still could have just simply stopped them. Okay? How hard is that? To just grab, just gently just grab them. If you're that concerned, if you don't want to do, just start electrocuting little kids, basically. So y'all are okay with that. But like I said, what do you expect? Coming from the same state that okayed the murder of Tamir Rice at 12 years old. Okay? So I guess it's okay at 12 years old to shoot at your kids and to tase at your kids. Is basically what they're saying. That's what they're saying. This is evil. It's despicable. It's cowardice. It's everything. Instead of saying, do you guys need food? Are you hungry? Are you not? You know, what happened to that? You know, I see these other stories all the time. Mom steals this out of the store, and police officers, they go and, you know, just buy the stuff for the moms. Or you couldn't have done that. This story could have been totally different. I see those stories all the time, and you have these super coons who sat up there and pulled out a taser on these black kids. Shame on you. Yeah, you should be ashamed. We should know how to interact with kids. Okay? We should know how. You're taking on the masses approach of doing things. And you're disgusting in my eyes. Absolutely pathetic. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this story. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.